When our revered Empress Sakura announced that we would subjugate the humans without spilling a single drop of blood, most of us were convinced she'd finally gone mad. Seriously, these humans had been waging war against each other for as long as they'd been writing history. Our intelligence briefs even indicated they had entire career paths devoted to mending the psychological wreckage caused by their own conflicts. How exactly were we supposed to bring them down with psychological tactics? Trust me, Commander. Vex, the Empress had told me, wearing that infuriatingly smug smile of hers. Their minds are far more brittle than their bodies. If you ask me, it was utter nonsense. But questioning the Empress wasn't in my job description. My duty was to execute her ludicrous scheme, which is how I found myself hovering in orbit above that blue-green world, commanding our most advanced psychological warfare vessel, the Mind Render. A name as overblown as the plan itself, almost as pompous as the official mission status report, I thought, as I called out to my second-in-command, Lieutenant Drez. Young, eager, and irritating. A perfect blend for someone I could conveniently pin the blame on if this went sideways. Sir, he reported, voice brimming with enthusiasm. We've located an isolated human settlement in a region they call Montana. Population? Approximately 312. Perfect, I said. Ideal test size for our first run of the fear-inducer. The fear-inducer, yet another piece of tech saddled with a melodramatic name. In theory, it emitted targeted waves that agitated the brain's fear center, conjuring vivid hallucinations of each subject's worst nightmare. Supposedly, it would break them into madness and force surrender within hours. Any particular reason for Montana? I asked, more out of habit than genuine interest. Yes, sir, Drez replied brightly. It's remote enough to contain the experiment and their defenses are negligible. Fine, I said. Begin the operation. Target the settlements. Center? Drez tapped a sequence of commands into the control panel. The ship gave a low, rising hum as the fear-inducer powered up. Broadcasting in 3, 2, 1. Broadcast initiated, he announced. I leaned back in my command chair. With a weary sigh. Now we wait, I suppose, sir, said Communications Officer Prill. Shouldn't we monitor the effects? I rolled all three of my eyes. Yes, obviously. Put it on the main screen. The view screen flared to life, displaying thermal scans of the human settlement. For a moment, nothing changed. Then, slowly, patterns emerged, heat signatures darting through the town, scattering like startled insects. Some huddled inside buildings, while others bolted into the wilderness. It's working, Drez said, almost in disbelief. The fear-inducer is actually working. I wasn't so sure. These could just be normal human reactions. Do we have audio? Prill made a quick adjustment to the controls. Routing through now, sir, Prill said. The command center filled with the sound of human screams, frantic shouts about shadows moving on their own, creatures clawing out of walls, and the ground splitting beneath their feet. Standard fear responses. Nothing impressive. This is too easy, I muttered. Humans are supposed to be resilient, sir, said Sensor Officer Nix. But I'm detecting an anomaly. One human heat signature isn't reacting like the others. Show me, I ordered. Dead? I asked. No, sir, Nix replied. Life signs are steady. It's just not moving. Increase intensity on that location, I ordered. Let's see how long this one lasts. Draz's fingers danced over the controls. Fear-inducer at 150% for target. We waited. Nothing. 200%, I said. Still nothing. Fine. Maximum output. The human remained completely still. This is impossible, Drez muttered. No sentient being can resist the fear-inducer at full power. I frowned. Prill, audio from that location? Trying, sir. She tapped at her console, then froze. Got it. But you don't know what real fear is. The words weren't shouted, they weren't even spoken to anyone visible. But they came through our audio feed with perfect clarity, as if he were standing in the command center with us. I felt an involuntary chill crawl down my carapace. Sir? Drez said, eyes darting between his console and me. He's somehow transmitting without equipment. On the screen, the man's gaze never wavered. He raised the weapon, an archaic rifle by human standards, aimed at nothing we could see, and fired. A bright flash. The mind render shuddered. Direct hit. To our cloaking array, Nick said, voice cracking. But that's impossible. He can't see us. The human lowered his rifle, still smiling. Now it's my turn, he said, and then the lights on the ship went out, voice carrying clearly through our audio pickup. That's cute. Really cute. He shouldered his weapon, still staring upward. Let me tell you something, he continued. I have seen things that would make your nightmares have nightmares. I have walked through hell and came back for seconds. Whatever. This little light show is supposed to be its amateur hour compared to what's already in my head. Sir, Nick said, voice urgent now, he's somehow locked onto our position. How is that possible? I didn't answer. I was too busy watching the human who was now walking to a vehicle parked nearby. You want to play mind games? The human called out. Fine. Let's play. But fair warning, I have been playing this game a lot longer than you have. He got into the vehicle and started the engine. Draz, I said quietly. Shut down the fear-inducer. Sir, shut it down now. Draz complied and the humming of the ship decreased in pitch. Sir, the other humans are recovering, Nix reported. Response decreasing across the settlement. Keep tracking that one, I ordered, pointing at the screen where the vehicle was now moving down a dirt road away from the settlement. Where's he going? Prill wondered aloud. Meeting Jack Mercer, we found out 30 minutes later when he pulled up to a larger building with a dish-shaped object on top. Some kind of communication center. Sir, said voice tight with concern, the human is broadcasting. Broadcasting. What? A message. It's Sir. It's our frequency. He's broadcasting on our secure channel. That was impossible. Our communications were encrypted with quantum algorithms beyond human technology. Put it through, I ordered. The human's voice filled our command center again. Hello up there. I know you can hear me. Let me introduce myself. My name is Jack Mercer, former Sergeant U.S. Army 10th Mountain Division. 2 tours in Afghanistan, 1 in Iraq, diagnosed with severe PTSD 5 years ago. He paused and I could hear him take a breath. Now, I don't know who you are or what you want, but let me explain something to you. That little mind trick you just pulled, the one that had everyone in town seeing their worst fears. That's my everyday life, friends. Every single day. How is he doing this? Dre whispered. What you don't understand, the human Jack continued, is that when you have been through what I have been through, you develop coping mechanisms. You learn to tell what's real and what isn't. You learn to function despite the fear, and most importantly, you learn to fight back. He chuckled, and the sound sent an involuntary shiver down my spine. So here's what's going to happen. You are going to leave now because if you don't, I'm going to show you what real psychological warfare looks like. And trust me, you are not ready for that. The transmission ended, sir. Dries looked at me, awaiting orders. I should have given the order to vaporize the human. I should have ordered a full-scale attack on the settlement. That would have been the proper response to such insolence. Instead, I found myself saying, "Prepare to break orbit, sir." Dra looked shocked. You heard me. We are leaving. But, sir, it's just one human. We can't let him dictate. It's not just one human, I snapped. If they are all capable of this kind of adaptation, of turning their own trauma into resilience, then the Empress's plan won't work. We need to reassess, and that wasn't the whole truth. The whole truth was that this human, this Jack Mercer, had genuinely unsettled me, not because of his words, but because of his eyes. I'd seen those eyes before on the battlefields of a dozen conquered worlds. They were the eyes of someone who had nothing left to lose, Someone who would burn down the universe just to watch you burn with it. Commander, Krill said suddenly, the human is broadcasting again. Put it through, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. One more thing, Jack said. I know you are thinking about coming back with bigger guns, conventional warfare instead of this mind game nonsense. I wouldn't. He paused, and I could almost feel him smiling. You see, I have already sent a message to some friends of mine, a former military like me, people with particular skills and similar mental fortitude. They are on their way here now, and they are bringing friends. Lots of friends. Another pause. Oh, and I have sent the frequency you are using to the government. They are interested in talking to you too. So, you have got about, I'd say 6 hours before this place is swarming with humans who are very, very good at fighting. Your choice. What happens next? The transmission cut off again. Sir, Nick said, voice tight. I'm detecting multiple high-speed aircraft approaching the region, military class. The unexpected resistance. I made a decision then, one that would probably end my career, possibly my life, when I reported back to the Empress. But I made it anyway. Plot a course out of this system. Maximum speed, sir, Dara protested. We can't just run. I turned to face him fully, all three of my eyes focused on his too. Lieutenant, we came here to test if psychological warfare would work against humans. We have our answer. It doesn't. Not only does it not work, but they have shown they can track us, communicate with. They are psychologically resilient in ways we never anticipated. They take their trauma and forge it into armor. They take their fear and sharpen it into weapons. I took one last look at the human called Jack Mercer, standing alone, looking up at us without a trace of fear. We came looking for weakness, I said quietly. Instead, we found strength. That's valuable intelligence. Now get us out of here before they decide to show us just how strong they really are. As our ship broke orbit and accelerated away from that blue-green world, even I couldn't help but wonder what the Empress would say when I told her that her great plan had failed because of one broken human who had somehow turned his brokenness into something unbreakable. I had a feeling we would be seeing those humans again, and next time they would be ready for us. I just wasn't sure if we would ever be ready for them. Sir, Dres said, interrupting my thoughts. The human Jack Mercer, he's broadcasting one final message. I sighed. Let's hear it. The human's voice came through calm and almost friendly now. I know you are leaving. Smart move. But just so you know, we will be watching the skies from now on. All of us, not just the military, not just the government. Every single human on this planet who's ever been broken and put themselves back together. Every person who's faced their fears and kept going anyway. We are all going to be looking up, waiting. And if you come back, he paused and I could hear the smile in his voice. Well, let's just say psychological warfare works both ways. And humans, we have had a lot more practice. The transmission ended for the final time. No one on the bridge spoke as we accelerated to escape velocity. No one needed to. We had Komeito test the humans to probe for weaknesses in their psyche that we could exploit. Instead, we had revealed Oron. You did what? The Empress Sakura's voice echoed through the grand audience chamber, making everyone flinch. Everyone except me. I'd expected this reaction. In fact, I'd rehearsed for it during our 3-week journey back to the Imperial Core. I ordered a tactical retreat. Your Magnificence, I replied, keeping my voice steady. The psychological warfare approach proved ineffective against human subjects. Ineffective. She rose from her ornate throne, her ceremonial headdress quivering with rage against a single settlement of primitive bipeds. Are you seriously standing before me claiming that the most advanced psychological technology in the galaxy failed against creatures who still think launching themselves into space on controlled explosions is impressive? The court tittered nervously. I remained at attention, all 3 eyes forward. Not just ineffective, your magnificence counterproductive. The humans demonstrated an unexpected psychological resilience. One particular, the aliens' retreat subject exhibited complete immunity to the fear-inducer, even at maximum power. The Empress descended the steps from her throne, her long robes trailing behind her. She circled me slowly like a predator considering where to bite first. "Commander Vex," she said, her voice dangerously soft. "Now, do you know how much resources went into developing the fear-inducer? How many of our best minds spent decades perfecting it? And you are telling me that some random human made it useless? Not random, your magnificence. A warrior, one who had already experienced psychological damage from their own conflicts. They call it PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder." "I know what PTSD is, Commander," she snapped. "What I don't know is why you didn't simply vaporize this troublesome human and continue with the mission." And now came the tricky part. Because your magnificence, he wasn't alone. He contacted others like him, and they were mobilizing quickly. The humans have global communication systems and rapid response military units. Our mission was compromised. "So you ran away," she said flatly. "I gathered intelligence and preserved your technological advantage," I corrected. "Had we engaged, we would have revealed our full capabilities. This way, the humans know only that someone was testing psychological warfare. They don't know who we are, what we look like, or what our true intentions are." The Empress stopped her circling and stood directly in front of me. She was shorter than me by at least a head, but somehow she always managed to make everyone feel small. "And what would you suggest we do now, Commander, since your expertise in human psychology is apparently so vast?" Was that sarcasm from the Empress? I'd never heard her use it before. Perhaps humans were contagious in more ways than one. "I believe we need to reassess our approach entirely. Your magnificence. Psychological warfare may work on most humans, but not all. And the ones it doesn't. Work on the ones like Jack Mercer. They are dangerous. They have already experienced the worst their Commander Vex reports to Empress Zakora minds can create. Our artificial stimuli are pale imitations. Jack Mercer. She raised what passed for an eyebrow among our species. You know this human's name? He introduced himself during his broadcast. Your magnificence. How courteous of him, she said dryly. And you believe this Jack Mercer represents a significant portion of the human population. Know your magnificence, but he represents enough. Their planet has been in continuous warfare for their entire recorded history. They have millions of veterans, with similar experiences if even a fraction of them share his resilience. The Empress returned to her throne, sitting down heavily. So what do you propose? That we abandon our interest in Earth? That we let this insult go unanswered? I took a deep breath. No, your magnificence. I propose we learn from our failure. The humans have weaknesses. We just need to find the right ones. She studied me for a long moment. Very well, Commander. You have convinced me not to have you executed, and for now. Instead, you will lead a new mission, one with a different approach. I bowed low. Thank you, your magnificence. What approach did you have in mind? Her lips curved into a smile that made my blood run cold. If we can't attack their minds directly, we will use a different vector. Social disruption. Turn them against each other. Humans are tribal by nature. Yes, let's exploit that. An excellent strategy, your magnificence. I know it is. I thought of it. She waved a dismissive hand. You have one standard cycle to prepare. You will take the Shadow Whisper this time, a more subtle vessel for a more subtle approach. I bowed again and backed away from the throne, relief washing over me. I had survived, and more importantly, I had another chance to prove myself. Little did I know that Jack Mercer and his kind were far from finished with us. Months later, I was once again in orbit around Earth, commanding a different vessel with a different mission. The The Shadow Whisper was smaller than the Mind Render, designed for stealth and precision rather than brute force psychological assault. Status report, I said to my new second-in-command, Lieutenant Cora. She was older than Drace had been more experienced, less annoying, thankfully. All systems nominal, Commander. Our cloaking technology is fully functional. Earth's detection systems show no sign of recognizing our presence. Good. And the targets. We have identified 3 optimal locations for the Discord seeds, major population, centers with pre-existing social tensions. According to our analysis, these are the pressure points where minimal input will yield maximum disruption. I nodded, studying the display. 3 cities glowed on the planet below: Beijing, Moscow, and Washington. The Discord seeds are ready for deployment, Cora continued, each one programmed with the specific cultural, the second invasion plant riggers you identified. The Discord seeds were another of our technological marvels. Tiny nanomachines that could infiltrate communication networks, subtly altering messages to heighten tensions, create misunderstandings, even push already divided populations toward conflict. No mind control, no obvious manipulation, just nudging what was already there toward the breaking point. But begin deployment, I ordered, and maintain absolute stealth. If we are detected, abort immediately. Yes, Commander. Cora transmitted the orders, and 3 small probes detached from the Shadow Whisper descending toward Earth's atmosphere. Each carried thousands of Discord seeds programmed to infiltrate everything from social media platforms to news broadcasts to government communications. Probes. Away, Cora reported. Estimated time to deployment, 43 minutes. I settled back in my command chair. This was more like it. No direct confrontation, no opportunity for heroes like Jack Mercer to resist us. Just subtle manipulation of existing human flaws. The Empress was right. This was the way to conquer Earth. Commander, said Sensor Officer Trill, a replacement for Nix, who'd requested a transfer after our last mission. I'm detecting an anomaly. My heart sank. What kind of anomaly? A signal. Very faint. It appears to be tracking our probes. That's impossible, Cora said. Our probes are using full stealth technology. Nevertheless, Trill insisted something down there is tracking them, and the signal is originating from Montana. Montana, the same region where we'd encountered Jack Mercer. Show me, he ordered. The main view screen shifted to display a familiar settlement. And therein, the same location as before, was a human heat signature, standing outside, looking up at the sky. Magnify, I said, my voice tight. The image zoomed in to reveal a human male. Not Jack Mercer. This one was taller, thinner, with no facial hair, but he was holding something that looked disturbingly like our own sensor technology. How did they get that? Cora whispered. The question is, I replied, what else do they have? Trill, scan for any unusual technology in that settlement. Trill worked his console. Sir, I'm detecting multiple anomalies, energy signatures that don't match any known human.